Hello, folks. Good evening. If you're here with us live, if you're seeing us on the rewind, then good, whatever time of the day it is for you. Tonight, we are going to be looking at a classic episode from The Outer Limits, a classic series. This episode is called O.B.I.T., O-B-I-T. And this is going to bring up a few things for us. It is a television episode, so we'll be able to go through it fairly quicker than usual when we're doing films. But there's going to be some interesting points to point out about a number of topics. I mean, we're going to look at some sound effects and stuff, and we'll have some clips from this, some memorable clips. And at the same time, we'll also talk about maybe some of the implications. This is something that has some subject matters that it addresses, such as um, surveillance, subject matter such as, privacy issues, collaboration between big corporations and government and the military and government, the military industrial complex, all that stuff. And then also just the moral of the story, which is something that's more broadly based with humanity and perhaps some behaviors or passions that we have that maybe it's good to get beyond, shall we say. Well, anyway, I don't want to talk us all to death here, so I am going to switch into stealth mode here. And we're going to bring on this gentleman. Please welcome Mr. Mike Gorley. Um, hold on, get him on stage. There we go. No, what the hell?
Evening.
I'm working on getting you on. Oh, I see it. You're just in the small
I'm just
icon.
a little guy on the bottom of the
Yeah,
stage.
we got to fix that. All right. So anyway, Mike.
Good evening. Good evening, Hale Scott. Welcome back.
Scott is the cornerstone. He
Oh
is the
man,
foundation.
cement.
Well,
Glue.
anyway, Mike, you like The Outer Limits, supposedly.
Supposedly, yes. I haven't. It's probably been a minute since I saw an episode, but I've seen them all at least once,
Okay,
probably
great.
multiple times.
Yeah, it was an excellent series, and shame only 2 seasons,
Yeah.
but they were great episodes, and a lot of them very forward thinking.
Well, the
And
problem is I liked it. See, if I like a show, it gets canceled.
yeah, Star
This
Trek:
one
The
needed a
Original
little longer.
Series
It made
only
it
got
2
3.
seasons.
Yeah, sorry there, Mike. Got to get the delay down so I don't talk over you. Well, anyway, we're going to introduce her. We're going to see if she has audio. But here she is. Psyche Opera is about to
Yay.
launch. All right, we're going to try this. We were having some audio issues right before we launched, and then we had to launch because Brown was winding down. And welcome all of you who have been watching Mr. Brown Alliance. Welcome to
Welcome,
Earworms.
welcome.
Let's try it.
Uh-oh. I see
Uh-oh.
her.
I don't see the visualization either, so
Oh man,
uh,
such a shame after, I love that intro more and more. Every week I love it more. That,
well,
that,
we're gonna leave her there. I mean, she may log out and log back in. Just so folks know, the person flashing up the chats for you is Professor Liza Sahito of Psyche Opera,
yes.
and she's the one that doesn't have audio right now. So we're going to move along here, and she'll catch up with us, but she'll also be in the chat there. At some point, she may just give up and just stay in the chat, but we love her input. So please keep trying, Liza. Please keep
Yeah,
trying.
yeah, absolutely.
All right. So let us move on here and take a look at our slide presentation. Standard definition, so things look like a square. Most of the things we do tend to be high definition, but I had to reformat it this week for standard def. So as we
Yes,
see,
this is just slightly old.
slightly. Well, I mean, when you think about it in the history of artwork in the world, it's not that old.
Nope.
We are going to load up the first video here because, as you see, we have the magic number 1 on the first slide, and that means it's time for video clip. And the first
Yay.
one, the episode starts off with some pretty interesting stuff. And so I'm going to play that for you, and we'll talk about it. Here we go. Did I just clip that?
Okay.
Well, welcome to the first real screw up of the evening because I was trying to clip out just the beginning, and that's what we got. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to load. I still have the video here. I'm going to load it. Uh, Somehow, I guess I had the region selected improperly, and we just got that.
Uh-oh.
So, but you know what I can do? I can play the video itself. Of course, it's copyrighted, so we got to be very careful. So I'll need to do a little skipping around here, I think. But we should be okay if we. I do have slides for the intro material for the Outer Limits, but let's just see what I was going to play. All right, and then we have the famous intro for the Outer Limits.
Yeah.
So that's what you got broadcast to you when you were watching this live. You got that first, and then of course the show has its intro that comes up later. But that must have been cool because see somebody at this pretty cool console, and even though it's black and white, the lighting is just perfect and everything.
I love the black and white.
Yeah, it's a haunting scene, and the
Like the old
console.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and we'll see the console more later, but
It kind of
uh,
throws you the very first time you watch the Outer Limits because they come on with this, but this is actually later on. So they kind of start with this, then they do the intro thing, and then it starts somewhere else, and then you see this later.
right. Yeah, it basically was like giving you the subject, like here, this is the subject matter, or at least just like a flash of this is what you'll
Right.
be in for the episode, and uh, great effects for the day. Basically,
Oh
the
yeah.
guy was watching a view screen, and he sees this on there, and you see all little sparkly effects and stuff going on. It's cool stuff.
Looks like he's kind of in a and they might have. It's been a while. I remember watching a marathon once, and they talked about the special effects and like they throw a clear baggie over them and sparkly stuff to give some kind of effect, and it's probably got styrofoam on the mask. Who knows? But yeah, they were on a shoestring budget, but ahead of
Yes,
their
they were.
time.
All right. I'm just letting the chat know that, Liza is there trying to work on her audio to get going, and she'll be flashing your chats up soon. Um, I think she's just giving that a little more effort here, and it's worth it because we want to hear her voice. Anyway, so
Absolutely.
Here we go. Then it comes to the intro. We do have in a previous earworms. We did the very first episode from the Outer Limits, which was called the Galaxy Being. It was basically using radio
Yeah.
to broadcast, and the guy that owned the station was a bit of an experimenter, and he was broadcasting to outer space and was able to attract a being that found its way to planet Earth. But anyway, a great intro to the series too. Everything we don't adjust your television. We are in control. I don't know. I don't have it memorized, but it's something like that. We control the horizontal. We control the vertical. And then something about we can make things. We can focus in on things. We can make them blurry, and then we can make them crystal clear. It's the moon. And classic intro, and yeah, like you said, a shoestring budget, but it was all quality stuff.
Oh, they made it work.
Yeah. And here we go, O.B.I.T.
O.B.I.T.
And this stands for Outer Band Individualized Tracer, and we'll see what that is in a bit. But I
Say it
do,
5 times fast.
yeah,
I can't.
yeah. And featuring, I wanted to put the stars here: Peter Brick and Jeff Corey, the protagonist and the antagonist, right here at the beginning. And Jeff Corey will be doing a little special stuff with later. And then Joanne Gilbert and Alan Baxter. I mean, none of the names were really known to me before this, and but I looked some of them up, and yeah, they were great actors. Maybe not as famous as they could have been, but the performance in this was amazing. Now, I don't know what differentiates you to be a guest star because I don't think that those actors were like regulars, So I don't know what the differentiation is, but maybe just a little spotlight there. So anyway, there's a bird's eye view of O.B.I.T. It's a console, and
Cracks me up
basically,
how the old sci-fi have nothing else in the room. It's like
yeah.
you're just sitting in the middle of an empty room.
Well, you know what? I mean, I would think that that's all you need is what's at the console there. So
Right.
I don't
Well,
know.
of course, but it's still, yeah, it's just interesting. Nowadays they try to, fill up the rooms and
Oh,
cram a bunch of
exactly.
shit in there.
And unfortunately, a lot of that looks copy and pasted in a way, even though it's well, in the case of CGI, it's quite literally so. But yeah, it's almost like you just see repetitions of the same equipment just to cover up everything and make it look fancy. But
Right.
here, it was more about being, I guess, utilitarian.
I think it has a certain effect on the whole scene. Because
Yes.
here's this guy in the middle of this huge ass room, at a console.
Hmm. And we're going back here again, folks. Sorry, but yeah, the lighting and everything looks good. I mean, that would be. There might be some too many corners there for a recording studio, but at least it's got some wall treatments there right behind him.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's looking in on this guy here who works at this plant. We'll find out later. It's called Cypress Hills. It's a defense contractor, and they work on technology for the military. And this is one of the guys that works there because they have this thing, O.B.I.T., that's designed to basically monitor their workers. And we'll find out more about that. Here's the guy at the console. Uh-huh. And he notices that that guy was doing something. Well, he was saying things he shouldn't have been saying about his superior. So he goes over here and records the log on reel to reel tape. Beautiful stuff. And so he records to the tape, logs the entry of whatever person at whatever 100 hours is speaking poorly of their superior. And what does Liza have to say? Maybe she's checking in with us here. The thing is, my slide controls for going forwards and backwards
I don't
covers.
know. Oh, it's in the browser. Oh, damn. That sucks. What I thought was
Mm.
interesting, of course, it was in the before they went to here, but they panned this city, and because I was watching a little bit of the episode earlier, and I was like, man, that looks like Salt Lake City. So I started looking it up, and supposedly that was supposed to be Washington D.C. Washington D.C. does not have mountains in the background. So I looked up where they actually recorded these. It was in Vancouver,
Oh,
as in
wow.
Canada, British
Yeah.
Columbia, which has
Well,
mountains too, but it really didn't look like what they were panning. So I have no idea. It kind of was just weird.
well, we have a slide of that coming up. I remember I got that because it was
Oh,
quite
okay.
picturesque. So,
Yeah.
but I
But
love this
just for,
console, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd like to make one of these and control some synthesizers with it. That would be awesome. But that's the O.B.I.T. console there. And let's move on and see what we got. All right. So here he is looking for more trouble. And he gets it
He found
unexpectedly.
it.
Yeah, he saw a foot that looks like that. Wow. Is that Robot? Hey,
It is a
Robot.
robot.
Good to see you. And then kind of looks at that kind of weird. He's like getting ready to log something, and then he sees a face that looks like that, and it's like, but then we
Uh,
saw some great, yeah, he doesn't look too comfortable with that, and so
a concerning eye.
yeah, yeah, and there's a good look at the what he's seeing, and then he kind of sees himself there, and now that's a worry. That raises some red flags because that means that thing there on the view screen is behind you. And well,
Hello.
well, anyway, and then we see that yeah, that thing didn't have good intentions, and I guess this guy's name was Harrison, Captain Harrison, and his run in the show was not long. He basically got suffocated there by an unknown thing, and now we know who
There it
produced it.
goes.
Joseph Stefano. And there you see the mountains that Mike was talking about. Now, those are some pretty serious mountains.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I almost can see the Mormon uh, church tabernacle, whatever, down there, and the Capitol building. And yeah, I mean, I lived out there 2.5 years. It looks like Utah. It looks like Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. I'm doing where was O.B.I.T. from the Outer Limits
Yeah,
filmed?
I did too, and I came up with Washington D.C. That is not Washington D.C. because they
Okay.
said the Capitol building. That's the Utah Capitol building.
Oh, well, now here,
I don't
I
know.
asked for O.B.I.T., and here the response is saying the galaxy being, so it's cued in on the first one. And so, no, that's not the one we're watching here. So, I don't know. I
I mean,
guess I
it could
shouldn't.
be Vancouver. There are mountains in Vancouver, but it ain't Washington D.C.
Oh man. Well, they only wanted to
Anyway,
tell me where the first episode was filmed. But anyway, yeah, I was in Vancouver in '86. My parents took me to the Expo '86, the what do you call that? The World's Fair. And I don't remember if I don't remember seeing mountains like that, but there could have been. There could have been.
yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
those are definitely Western mountains.
Yeah. Alrighty, so let us move on. And we do have it was written by this person. Oh, is it? Oh, Meyer. Yes,
I
Meyer
bet he knows.
Delinsky. Yeah, I'm sure he was there. And directed by Theed Oswald. Oh, Gerd.
Gerd
Gerd.
Oswald.
Hurdy gurdy.
Gurdy
All right.
gurdy.
All right. So we got the credits out of the way. Now, here we go. On the left is Lieutenant Grover, who is the military attache between this company called Cypress Hills and the Department of Defense. They're basically a defense contractor. In the center is a senator by the name of Orville. We just get a last name, Senator Orville, who's come to investigate the death of that Harrison guy. Now, the reason why a senator's coming is because this isn't really just a crime investigation. They're investigating the whole place because there's been some rumors about morale issues, as they call it, and things like that. And they want to see what's going on here. And on the right is Lomax, who is acting head of Cypress Hills. The actual head of the company is, as we'll find out, is in a rest home. He actually needed to take some time off, and we'll explore that as we go. So anyway, just so you know, people need to know characters if they're going to know what we're talking about. And then here's where we get some insight. This is Lomax with his back turned to us. He's talking to this lady here, who is the wife of the actual owner, and he's missing, but we don't know that yet. We just get a little bit of mystery. We just find out that you know, he's here to kind of comfort her because I think they kind of have a little bit of a thing, and they really shouldn't because she's married. But at least the way he grabs her, you get that impression, and he's telling her to, you know, be supportive of him. You don't need to worry about your husband anymore. He he kind of embarrassed himself. Is basically the idea, but she's not so sure. So she's got that look, and there he is putting his furry paws on her shoulder, and she's still got that look afterwards. She's not sure about this, so it's got mystery to it, you
He
know.
doesn't look overjoyed.
No. So here's the room. Looks kind of
Okay.
like a control room. Looks like it could be a studio in some ways. And they got a console there. That's O.B.I.T., and this is where they're having the hearing. I think those three guys behind the table, they're not really introduced. They're supposed to be kind of like, I guess, a panel for the hearing. You know, they're the witnesses. Well, not witnesses as to anything happening there, but they're witnessing the hearing. Bad terminology. All right. So anyway, we have here Orville speaks to the first person he calls up to question, and that happens to be a police officer who's been investigating the whole incident. And the guy really just doesn't know anything other than the facts of basically Captain Harrison was killed by strangulation, and it had to be a really strong person who did it. And that's all we get. And Orville's already asking questions about, what is the morale like here? And this guy doesn't know. I mean, he just came to investigate that thing, so he doesn't know anything about this place really. So his time's up, and so his 5 minutes of fame on the witness stand are over. Although it is pointed out that this is the unit where Captain Harrison was working. It's called O.B.I.T., and it's right there. All right. Convenient that it's in the room where they're having the hearing. So anyway, here's Lomax. We get glances of him and Lieutenant Grover because I don't know. They're the guys that are kind of in charge. Hello, we see some flames on the screen here. What is
Yes.
this? Now open for lunch. Thanks for stopping by again.
Welcome, welcome.
All right, so Overville is now questioning. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, they're ending right here. Okay, well, he invites another witness in, and it's a scientist that works there, an astrophysicist. A very lovely old man, we'll find out. Basically, starts questioning him, and the guy's got a bit of a track history of writing letters, and Orville's wondering, why is this such a big deal? Oh, why are your letters so important, especially since you didn't send them? And then he's also asking the guy, well, why didn't you send these letters that you've been writing? And if you didn't send them, how do they know about it? Well, basically, the idea is this gentleman is terminally ill, and he was writing letters to his son in Philadelphia. Basically, he wanted some company, but when he feels the pains of whatever condition he has, that's when he writes the letters. But then afterwards, he basically burns them or tears them up because his he doesn't want to trouble his son. He has a family and all that, and he doesn't want to be a bother to his son. I think he should still bother the son. It's important. But anyway, he's saying that these guys wouldn't leave my privacy alone. They were questioning me about the letters. And it's like, well, how do they know you're even writing letters? That's what Orville's wondering. And he's like saying, I don't know. Everybody here is watched. We all feel watched, and we don't laugh anymore. That's a theme that keeps coming up. We don't laugh anymore because we're all being watched. And there's the jury, so to speak, and they're just looking at it like, that's interesting. And then the gentleman takes his leave. And the thing that's cool about these episodes, and I don't know if we see it as much anymore, they get a lot of the little things right too. I mean, the guy was a great actor. You could really see the expression of it in his face. And then when he's leaving the room, he's walking away with a slow pace, as someone who's dealing with terminal illness as well as a lot of melancholy. And so he had
Yeah.
presence basically on camera.
Yeah, they call that acting.
Yeah. Yep.
They did it quite
Yeah.
well back in the day.
Yeah. And so now Orville is all set to ask this guy questions. He wanted to talk to the head of the company, but that guy, who's named Clifford Scott, is not available. And this guy Lomax, who's second in command, basically says that he's as they described it at that time, physically. Oh, I forget what they call it, but they said physically, but it meant somebody who had like a nervous breakdown or wasn't in complete control of their faculties or something like that. And but they called it physically. I forget the word, but physically something. So that struck me as strange. It must have been just a terminology at the time. So anyway, Lomax is willing to answer the questions in his place, and uh, so he gets to go
One,
on stand
two,
next.
three.
3, 4.
What?
Hello,
I'm
you're
not.
here.
Oh, Liza.
I thought I wasn't here because I'm not seeing a mic signal.
That's okay. Hearing is believing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing your visualization.
This piece of software,
Well, I'm going to submit a ticket tonight for this issue,
when I see a
because this
sig,
is the one
yeah,
issue that is just
oh,
unbearable,
yeah,
like you not
Yes.
getting audio.
Unbearable.
My other issue, when I lose your audio, I can fix by just clicking in another tab and clicking back, but this one has to be fixed.
yeah.
And those of us that have been sticking with us each week, like Scott, they know it. I did check out Restream this week, and there'd be some things that I'd have to give up that are really useful for us here. And
There'd be
so,
whales here, Captain. Yep.
It'll be Wales.
There'd be
Well,
whales.
I will say last week and I think the week before some too, you were breaking up constantly on me, just pausing, and that is
mhm.
not happening. Knock on wood so far,
All right.
which makes it a lot better. It's kind of a pain in the ass when it's doing that
Yeah.
because I don't know when to talk because you cut out and then you come back and yada yada yada. But it's not happening this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Awesome.
Right.
You guys are stable for me too today. The only thing that isn't is look. I mean, when I log in, I see a mic signal, and then when I enter the studio, there's no mic signal. And now
Ooh, that would
you
go.
guys are hearing me, but I'm not seeing a mic signal. I don't know.
Well, we're going to have to try it on Chrome for you also. But
Yeah.
anyway, this month will be the testing month. Oh man,
Okay.
I had another announcement that I forgot to mention at the beginning. So it's
Mm.
good. Now that we're all three here, we want to say to our audience, especially the regulars, next week and the two following weeks, basically March 9th, 16th, and 23rd, it looks like we're going to stay tuned to the channel because I put community posts up as announcements, but it looks like we're going to start an hour later because our good friends in the UK will be staying in Standard Time, while we in the United States go ahead to our daylight savings time. So here on the East Coast, we will be 1 hour ahead of the Brits. Well, sorry, we're usually 5 hours behind, but we're going an hour ahead, so we're going to be 4 hours behind. So that means when Mr. Brown finishes, it'll be 8:30 here, Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to be starting an hour later for everyone, but the Brits won't notice it. In other words, it's just the U.S. that'll notice it, and so Eastern we will be starting at 8:30, and then Central Time will be 7:30, Mountain 6:30, and Pacific will be 5:30. So that's our start time for the next 3 weeks until the 30th, when the Brits then go ahead an hour, and they too shall be in their British daylight savings time.
Man, time travel is so confusing.
Yeah. But the thing is, for the next 3 weeks, we will be doing slightly shorter episodes that'll be friendlier for Mike. Next week, we'll be having a guest musician on, Alex Petty Music,
Yes,
who's
finally.
an awesome guitarist, and he's a great vocalist as well. And he writes music, he writes songs. So he'll be playing for us some live stuff, and we'll be looking at some of his music videos. And he'll also be talking about fractalization in music. He's done some studies on frequencies in music, and adjusting tuning to better lock into those frequencies for, shall we say, the betterment of our, I guess, psychology or enjoyment of listening to music. What does Flav have to say?
He says, I don't want to think where the UK will be in a few weeks' time.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
That worry is around the world, my friend. That worry is around the world. But
Unfortunately.
so anyway, back to this, and this was a worry here too. Orville's asking this guy questions, and one of the things that he's come with is just some reports, because he's opening up a folder there where he's reading of some statistics and stuff. How this is a corporation that basically operates the town that they're in. So that vista that you saw there before, the not Washington D.C. with mountains, that area is basically this company with uh, you know a community around of people that work there, and I guess other businesses to serve the community. But it's basically like those old corporate towns, like where like a coal mining operation would basically own the top town in which they operate, that sort of thing. And he's looking at the stats, and basically he's worried about morale in the community, because people basically stopped showing up at the company socials and everything. And so he's wondering what that's all about. And he points out, since that thing arrived, and so he wants to know more about this device, because the Lomax guy is not able to quite explain to his satisfaction why morale seems to be low there. He just says it's in line with other companies. Well, and we'll find out later. There's that might actually be true. The spread of this obit is wider than thought. Anyway, so I take all these pictures as usual, because I see like some good expressions and stuff like that, and I'm camera happy. But anyway, Lomax was not getting much information for him, so he said, "Okay, I need to find out more about this obit device." And he asked Lieutenant Grover here, who's the military attaché, basically the liaison between the company and the Department of Defense, who they are working for. This guy is, he asked him, I need to know about this device. And Lomax says it's top secret. So he asked this guy, wait a minute, the people's representatives should be aware of such devices and know more about them. He doesn't think it should be top secret, or whatever. So basically it ends up saying, okay, tomorrow, first thing in the morning, we got to find out about this obit. You're going to show me. And so after this hearing, they leave and they're talking outside. And that's where this Grover basically calls it the peeping Tom device. And so we get, as an audience, a little insight as to what it is. And there we are in the open doorway towards the back is Mrs. Scott, the wife of the owner, who is not here. Anyway, I don't know. I just thought a lot of these, a lot of the imagery, it's fine detail, it looks
Very.
right.
I like that shadow.
Yeah, the shadow
Look at that
and the
shadow.
way she's sitting, you can see
Uh-huh.
she's kind of nervous. She's worried. Man. All right, we move onward and we get to hear and see something. So let
Hey,
me
number
load up clip
2.
2. Now, hopefully clip 2 will be actually what I wanted to clip out. Otherwise, we're going to be fast forwarding through this episode. Let's see here. Load her up. Good thing I still had the full video there so that I could go to it. All right, and so.
If I understand you correctly, this machine can pick up people anywhere, anytime, through steel or concrete walls?
Well, the density of the surrounding has no appreciable effect on reception.
What do you call it?
O.B.I.T. or O.B.I.T. Actually, those are initials for outer band individuated teletracer.
How does it work?
Well, you see, every living organism is a transmitter operating 24 hours a day. And
all right, I'm going to pause it right there just so we don't get any copyright issues, hopefully. I'm not going to play a lot more of it, but I wanted to include this clip because there's some great music in the background. And I think it's an electric piano without the modulation, where you hear that oscillation, like the amplitude modulation, the wah 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 wah. It's without that, really subdued. And I was trying to figure out whether it was that or organ. But later I do hear some electric piano, so I think it's that. But really cool stuff. And then at some points, like in the intro, that very first scene before the opening title and credits, I heard like tape being used there to speed up and slow down. So that might be happening too. They might be playing tape at different speeds. Great way of getting some effects. And but in here, I mean, this guy's talking about how people are transmitters, and that is true. Like if you sometimes are having trouble getting a radio station tuned in and you grab the antenna, you become part of the antenna, and sometimes you get better reception that way. And same thing with the old rabbit ears on TVs and stuff, where it's like, damn it, I have to stand here. I can't just sit and watch it. Because I remember we grew up, I grew up without cable, and so it was all antenna based, and
We did antenna too, yeah.
So it was important to try and get that antenna just right so you saw less snow on the screen. But anyway, so people are transmitters.
that, of course, is true. Human beings, too, awake or asleep, active or passive. We are, each of us, constantly sending out our particular brain waves, heart sounds, respiratory rhythms, and, well, like fingerprints. No two human patterns are alike.
Well, now, do you mean to tell me?
Now, I don't know if that's completely accurate to reality or not. I know it is true in one sense that, yes, your heartbeat is giving off electrical impulses that can be read. I don't know how far away, but I know infrared light could definitely see the warmth of the body from further away. But as far as the electrical impulses of a heartbeat or your lungs breathing, basically all your cellular activity has electricity at some level going on. Well, not all cell activity, I guess I shouldn't say that, but most of your systems do depend on the nervous system. And so, your brain is constantly giving off brain waves, and it changes depending on what state of consciousness you're in, whether you're awake, relaxed, or sleeping, you'll be at different frequencies of brainwave activity. Now, does the combined whole create a fingerprint that's unique to each person? I don't know, but that is an interesting concept. And I guess I'm just speculating alone here.
No, I'm thinking about what I could add to that. That's interesting. I just thought, well, if you believe in the aura, then yeah, you do believe that we're transmitting some type of energy field of some kind.
Well, even what they were saying about, the lungs and the heart, definitely that does transmit, or you can read electrical activity from them. Definitely. How far away, I don't know. Um, when you go in for an echocardiogram and things like that, they're reading electrical impulses or ECGs, which is, yeah, that's what an echocardiogram is. And same thing with like the brain. A lot of times it's reading the electrical activity. Now, does each person have their own unique? I mean, because it does change depending on your state of relaxation and so forth. The brain waves do, at least, and your heartbeat, I'm sure, changes whether you're asleep or awake and exercising. So I don't know if it could become a unique fingerprint, but let's just imagine and say it can. So
Well,
there
I
you go.
found something of interest here.
Oh, cool.
You, if the instruments
I
he used
can't hear
something,
Mike. He's
huh?
saying stuff, but I can't hear him.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll tell you what he says.
can you
Can you
hear
hear
me?
me?
I could hear you.
Can
Okay.
you
No,
hear
she
me,
hear.
Lawrence?
I hear you. So I'll pass
Oh,
along
okay.
what you say to Liza. So
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead, Mike, and Liza will wait, and I'll pass it
All
along.
right,
Oh
all right.
gosh.
Well,
Ay, ay,
apparently he
ay.
used something called an onifets, which is actually Joseph Stefano's name spelled backwards,
Oh, wow.
and it's described as a makeshift synthesizer prototype created by John. I probably get this wrong. Elizalde, Elizalde. So
Wow.
this guy created this thing, and they said sometimes he used a theremin, sometimes, and sometimes combine it with the flute. I thought that was interesting.
Well, this is
So
across
anyway,
episodes. So,
yeah,
yeah, definitely. This John Elizalde will be someone we're going to have to cover coming up.
I
yeah,
could
So,
hear
yeah.
yeah,
Mike. Could hear you again, Mike. I had to change tabs. Now it's doing
Yeah.
ah,
it to you.
That
Ah.
tab switching is what I have to do to hear you, Liza, whenever I
aha,
switch scenes. So it looks like you may have to do that now and then.
okay,
I'm definitely submitting a ticket. This is just
Yeah, you must.
yeah. Anyway, I
For
thought that
both
was
of
kind
these
of
problems.
interesting.
that is very interesting. Thanks for looking that up, Mike. I'm going to check that out and definitely look that guy up, especially if he made a synthesizer. I'm going to try and find out more about that. And
Yeah, I think it's funny they called it. He just spelled his name backwards.
yeah, the Anna Fetz or something. Yeah, because
Yeah,
Stefano
onifets,
is the producer.
onifets.
Awesome being. All right, so here we
You
go.
mean to tell me that you can pick up anyone's signal at will?
Yes, it's like a push-button radio. You see, once we have an individual tuned in and have their particular wavelength, it's simply a matter of hitting the right buttons and bring them in.
All right, and so we're going to proceed back to the slides now. We can only play short clips, and basically he's demonstrating how O.B.I.T. works in that view screen. I mean, that I'm wondering how they did that. You know, how they mapped that in a circle. Uh, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know a lot about analog film, but that that definitely looks very cool.
Maybe it's a film superimposed on a film, but the little film had to be just the right size, or maybe it was cut
Yeah, and
and
circular because
pasted onto every individual frame to the matching frame.
hmm.
That's how I'm guessing they did it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe better.
Yeah, there you go.
Now open for lunch says theremin, flute, try a saw. Yes. Everyone must try the analog theremin. I mean, not the analog theremin,
The
excuse me,
saw.
the acoustic theremin, which is
Yes.
the
There you
saw.
go.
Yes.
So when are we having now open for lunch on?
I don't know. Albert, would you like to come on Earworms as a guest?
Next week's Alex Petty, and then one of these weeks we want to have. Well, you're open for lunch. Let's see if you're open for earworms, which can make a
Yes, that
tasty
would be very
lunch.
cool.
Perhaps.
So let us proceed forward here. So he's demonstrating the thing. Excellent looking console. I love it. And Lomax is just also talking about how they can tune into different cities, but only 500 miles. They are hoping to extend it, but right now can only go up to 500 miles away. And so they were actually watching somebody. Now, in here, he calls it Washington, D.C. They're observing someone in Washington, D.C. That doesn't mean that's where it was filmed. It just means that's where that guy on the view screen is in the story. And so he knows his.
Well, the story is set in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
just outside of Washington, I guess. But yeah, those mountains. I
So,
mean,
yeah, they kind of goofed on showing mountains.
there's
I
some
don't know what
hills in
that was.
Virginia near there, but I don't think
Yeah,
there
yeah,
that
there's
many.
no mountains. Yeah, hills maybe, mountains no.
Mm.
And they don't look like that, even if there was.
All right.
Well, you can't
So
get everything.
yeah. Well, anyway, so Lomax demonstrates it, and this guy's like, of course, he uses the because Orville's noticeably upset, and he uses the general excuse that just about everyone uses, and that is, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you have nothing to worry about. And Orville's like, yeah,
Yeah, right.
imagine when you say that when I'm cussing out like another senator or somebody, you know, it's like no one wants to be observed 24/7 or have the possibility of that happening.
Yeah, well, the Lenin said, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime."
And that would be Vladimir Lenin, not John.
Yes, because under a totalitarian rule, everything is basically illegal, you know,
Yeah.
and you can get in trouble. They can throw the book at you for anything. Well, like if everything's illegal or almost everything's illegal, it's like,
Or
yeah,
can be.
or can be, yeah.
Yeah, that's why the tax code is so complicated here in the US. It's like, so
When they,
basically,
yeah.
even you do an honest job reporting your taxes, you can, they can probably find something that's like, no, that isn't right there. And it's like, what? And so,
Well,
that's how
I'm
they got
a
Capone.
man.
They didn't get Capone for organized crime. They got him for taxes.
That's right.
Yep.
And so anyway, here's a guy from the military, and he just kind of has a look on his face, like, yeah, we've heard this before. So anyway, yeah, the senator is remarking about that, and then looks like he's got someone else to take the stand there, and um, that's Grover. That's Lieutenant Grover, and Lieutenant Grover is just basically, because now he's asking about this device. It's like, where did this device come from? And he said, well, it was ordered by G2, and he said, well, maybe G2 didn't even know what it is. He probably just signed for it and didn't know. And he's like, asked him, well, where is it manufactured? And he's like, well, the company's out of business. And so, like, basically the whole track history um, of this device is unknown. It's like, we don't know whoever made it is out of business now anyway, even though these things are all over the place, because he's remarking how they're being used in plenty of other facilities now. And yeah, we just don't know where they came from. And
And he buttons up his lip.
yeah. And of course, Lomax.
Love those glasses.
Oh, yeah. That's like, would you say those are Elton John glasses?
Oh, yeah.
I would like those glasses.
Only if the lenses were blue. That'd be cool.
Transitions.
Transitions.
And these guys are paying attention now. Maybe not the one furthest back, but the other two, they're definitely paying attention now. And so it's just more questions and more stifling. Basically, I don't have the whole conversation memorized, even though I did watch it 3 times this week in preparation. So
Jack Benny glasses. Oh God, there's someone I haven't seen in forever, but I know who it is.
See, I don't
All
know that
right.
reference. Who is Jack Benny?
He was a
Scott.
comedian
Yeah.
Oh,
and a funny one.
Yeah. It was a little before my time, but he was still well known while I was growing up that we'd seen plenty
Oh
of
yeah.
videos with him in it.
Yep.
And there she is, looking all nervous and stuff. And, uh, basically the whole deal is her husband is the owner of the company, but he's away and she doesn't even know where he is. This is Orville asking her right now, where is, where's Clifford Scott, your husband? She's like, I don't know. And she says that wherever we looked, we didn't find him. And he asked, well, who is we? You and Mr. Lomax here. So Lomax and her apparently were looking for this husband, but he's somewhere that doesn't want to be found. And we'll find him out later because Orville's like, all right, I need to talk to this guy. I need to talk to the owner of the company. So he talks to this Grover guy and says, we got to find him. And apparently Grover knows where he is. And he's not telling anyone else, though. But the senator will get to see Clifford Scott. And, you get the impression that Grover's trying to strong arm him, saying, the constituents back at home, it's going to be a tough political fight this next election. And you get the idea that he's going to try to do something to threaten the senator's position. But the senator, unlike the rest of the Senate today, doesn't back down. And so he insists on seeing this Scott. All right, so that is our first half of the slides. That's about half of the episode. And now we are going to move on to something a little bit different as a palate cleanser. It's been long overdue that
Oh
we
my
return
God.
to the reliable AI.
Inga. There we go. Yes.
She's back and she's passionate. She's got some slides for us this week where
Oh.
we can determine whether animal intelligence is more reliable than artificial intelligence. And most of the time, we've been finding that the animal intelligence does win out. This is, of course, where we view images of something related to this show, and we talk about whether it's AI or not. And so we are going to take a look at the first one. And I thought, who would be a great person to look at in this one? Well, let's at least start off with Jeffrey Corey, the actor who played Lomax in this episode. And there we go. Is this Jeff Corey? Lomax with the glasses. Is this
Minus the glasses?
That's him.
actually, it
Now
could
he
even
looks
be
like Jack
another.
Benny. No, I'm just kidding.
It could even be another Jeff Corey. That's not the problem here. We were just trying to figure out if this is AI or not. Is this an AI photograph or is this
No.
him?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Something too real about it, I guess. Yes, that was.
Nah, that's AI.
Well, that's the best I could get, and it was at this point where
Ooh.
I said, "Okay, I'm going
Put
to
on the
need to
glasses, give him
switch to
a cigar. It looked like Groucho Marx.
Well, I'm going to have to switch to a name that perhaps the AI knows because, with all its hits of Jeff Corey, probably this actor is not going to come up as strong, maybe be mixed in there in this overall hybrid of a face. Who knows? But we don't know what it comes up with, but that's the best we got. And that doesn't look like any kind of Corey.
Or it could
Man,
just stare at Inga for 5 minutes.
that upper lip on the right is pretty scary.
That
Okay,
whole
so
thing is pretty scary.
So I decided who is our modern day Jeff Corey. Could it be Elon Musk?
Oh my God. I'm going to bed.
Well, he is a defense contractor, SpaceX. Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
man.
Yeah. And he and what else? Neuralink. I'm pretty sure that's going to be used by the government at some point. That whole microchip in the brain sort of thing. And let's see, what else does he do? Oh, of course, Tesla and the electrical vehicles. Right now, I mean, he's trying to make government more efficient. Even though most of his career he was receiving
Hey,
about as much from government as you could get. So
if
anyway,
I'm lucky, he won't put me out of a job.
uh,
He's already been out at my work this week.
oh, what?
Well, not him personally, but his people.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy. Well, not him
Yeah.
personally, because as far as I'm concerned,
Hell
he's
no,
like
he's not going to come
he's
near
well,
the
no,
common people.
he's a hood ornament, man. I mean, he doesn't even run the businesses. The businesses are run by other people. He doesn't have time to run 6 different companies. Now,
No, there's no way.
maybe X, maybe because he seems to like to tweet a lot, but he's not running the other stuff. I mean, he's got people
No, he
doing
just gets
that.
on the computer and goes, "Never heard of that. We'll just delete it. You're all fired." Oh, but we're going to make mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, looks like you've got some real world stuff going on here. And now, unfortunately, we used to be able to talk about him and maybe have it be not a hot button thing, but now it is because he's so damn involved in government. It's like it's politics now. And it's like,
I agree now. Open for lunch. I agree.
but anyway, here he is dressed up in a Baphomet outfit,
Uh,
which last time I checked is somewhat satanic.
Yeah, totally.
I
Yeah.
think we should just look at Inga and listen to the intermission from Monty
Okay.
Python and
Well, we
Holy
don't
Grail.
have many more. We don't have any more. Would
Oh
this happen to be a
no.
picture of Elon Musk? Take your pick, whichever one.
Oh, no more.
If it's
Oh,
an
wait.
improvement, so it must be AI.
I got a cat knocking on the window. I'll be back.
Oh no. I don't.
Yay, bring the cat on.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if she can get the cat. All right. So anyway, folks. Yeah.
That's my present.
This is what we do in between other things. Yeah. I don't think we have to even.
Oh my
What
God.
about this? Sometimes AI gets in a rut. The stable diffusion gets in a rut. It's like, okay, I'm doing lips like this now, and, and no matter what you do, it keeps doing them, and it's like,
I'm kind of liking the AI on this guy, though.
that's almost like the Joker there.
Yeah, no doubt. Put some green makeup on.
And then we have here, well, looks kind of like a Renaissance fair, so I guess that's a
Yeah, I
little
bet he
unfair.
goes to those all the time.
And, his buddy there in the full plate mail. I love it. But
Oh, God.
I like how it decided, okay, we're going to use the colors from his Baphomet outfit and put it in his get up there. Awesome.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then how about this? Is that Elon Musk?
Oh, Lordy. Yeah. Yeah. Real.
Well, in that case, he appeared in an episode of Star Trek.
There you go.
This is the Gorn from the original series,
Oh, God.
where
I'm
Captain.
glad to see in the. I was checking the chat to see if I was, being flogged or anything, but it looks like there's not lot of love for Elon there, so I guess I'm all right.
No, I don't think we have any. I'm not gonna say the word in the audience. We have free people with free minds
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
who
God.
have critical thinking skills,
Critical
Mike.
thinking. Oh my God.
Yes, that's our audience,
Oh,
Mike.
no.
yes, folks, we
Yeah.
normally don't do anything political, and we're certainly not doing it from any side here.
No, not at all.
Uh,
No,
just bear in mind, every butt has 2 cheeks.
it
All
does.
right. So anyway, So anyway, I
Yeah,
think
man,
what
I'd
we
just
should
rather
do.
listen to some Grateful Dead and chill, you know,
Yeah.
or just about anything.
I am
Well,
going to
Consider
try
the
and
source.
I am going to try and share something here, because I also want to start doing a little bit of this, even when we're doing films or TV episodes. I'd like to do a little bit of something else along with it. Um, I'm just trying to share a window that it is not giving me as an option. Just give me a moment here. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's here. Why don't you have that as an option? Uh, let's see here.
Hey, you
That's
better not leave
tabs.
this up too long, you man. You might get in trouble.
Yeah,
Pull your show.
I'm trying to get there, but
oh, guys, we might be descending into a political battle in the chat, and that's not what we wanted to start.
uh-oh. Okay, so
Let's not do that. Just an FYI, folks. Lawrence and I can't speak for Mike, though. We're not on any side. We think that everything that's happening in Washington uh, is a show for our benefit, and
yeah.
we're living in I don't want our YouTube channel taken down, so I'm gonna stop right there. But
Okay.
people,
Yeah,
please
probably a good idea.
don't make enemies with other people. We're gonna need each other. Okay?
Yeah, and now that's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Start growing
Why
food.
did we fall?
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's the reason why they do it, and that's why they make everyone so insanely mad at another side. It's because
The Hegelian dialectic. It's an old game.
yeah, because
It's
even
an
if you're
old
not
game.
really happy with your side's doing, the fear of the other side will get you out to the voting booth. So, in any case,
The
and
thing is, both sides are
oh no,
working for.
there's a reason to fear
Yeah.
both.
Well, the thing is, both sides are working for the
Yeah.
same people, and that's what we don't
Yep.
know. And this technique was developed in communist Russia. You know, we have the opposition and the controlled opposition. There are no good guys in government at any level, my friends. Not at all. So
Yeah,
please.
and Liza's parents kind of experienced that firsthand. They came from Cuba, and they came legally, but they were fleeing when they came.
Right. So no, don't worship anyone. Not in government, not in corporations, nothing. They do not deserve. First of all, they don't deserve your worship. Nothing deserves your worship. You are a sovereign being, and you are a sacred being, and you know we all are. We got to take care of each other. We got to stop fighting with each other. You know. So
Alrighty, so this is the plane that Orville took, and he went out to find Clifford Scott, and so Grover's there. It's like, even Lomax couldn't find the guy, although maybe he wasn't looking, but he couldn't find the guy, and but Grover, he knows. Department of Defense, they know, and so they're at the home where Clifford Scott is staying, and here he comes in. Orville comes into Scott's room to talk with him, and we see the back of a chair and a hand there. I thought it was great staging, because I mean, just the look of it, it's like it's heightening the anticipation of seeing this guy. And then when you do see him, I mean, the actor has just such a great presence about him. This is a guy who has had a nervous breakdown. And he's laying there kind of reclining, talking, but very confident, because what he's seen, he's willing to talk about it. And he basically, I mean, you can guess now as the audience that he saw that creature on the view screen. And of course, I mean, in any age, it's probably difficult to talk about sightings of beings that should not exist. You know what I mean? And I think probably back in the 60s, it was probably even more so because, there was probably less people speaking about any kind of sightings of things. And so it was probably much harder to do so. So it's something that, if you see something like that, you honest to God see something like that, you are probably really worried inside because no one's going to believe you in anything. So anyway, Orville basically starts asking him some questions, and at first he's just talking about the device and feeling kind of uncomfortable with it, but then he goes on to seeing something quite monstrous. And Orville basically says, "Well, um, I believe that you believe that you saw it, which is a way of saying, okay, well, this guy believes he saw it, and I think he's being honest about seeing it, and so I believe him." And that's where he gets this expression where, somebody actually said that. And what's more is Orville actually asked him, "What did it look like?" And this guy's like, "Oh, someone actually asked me what it looks like." And so he knows that he can maybe reach out to Orville a little bit more. And so he starts talking about it a bit, and not in heavy detail, but just enough. And then he explains to Orville right here when he pulls the curtain, that the reason why he's staying here is because here he's safe. Because as long as he's considered to be insane, he's safe. If he's out there trying to be pretending he's anything other than being insane, then he's not safe. And it was just like a great imagery to have the curtain pulled across his face here when he says that. So, in any case, Orville tells him though, but it can't be a great way of living, just being here. And that's when the scene ends, and we get the idea that yes, Clifford Scott will join him. Will join him. I just heard a little bit of hiss there, so that means Mike is with us again.
Yeah.
I've been talking too long on my own there.
No, I saw number 3, man. I got excited. Got another.
Okay.
Oh, there's
Video.
sounds here. Okay.
Yeah. Finally, something interesting.
Sounds.
All right. Here we go. And we're going to hear it. This is where, back at the base, while Orville's away finding the company owner, back at the base, we got this.
Well, I phoned several times, but they won't let me talk to him. He said that Senator Orville hasn't been at the rest home and hasn't seen my husband. Why do you keep asking? Sometimes I feel that you don't care about me at all. That you're using me in some odd way. I'm sorry, Byron. I do know better. Only sometimes All right, Byron. Will you call me if you hear anything?
All right. So there she is, I guess, on the phone with Byron Lomax, in case you didn't know. Mr. Lomax's first name is Byron. So this guy watching him is, I guess, one of Lomax's stooges, just basically keeping track of her. And so that's what she's saying while she's talking to him on the phone. So you get the idea that she's not too comfortable. This Lomax was trying to, I guess, be somewhat friendly with her. And she doesn't like it. Yeah, she was thinking of separating from her husband because he went insane, and there was issues before that we'll find out about. But she's not comfortable with it now, and she thinks she's being used. At least that's what she's saying. And now we're going to continue a little bit. But that music in the background is awesome. That And so, I mean, I have a feeling. I still, when I hear it, it sounds kind of organish to me, or electric piano. I don't know, but obviously, very subdued tones. Um, but it could be that Ophanats,
Open eyes.
Ophanets, or whatever it
Open it.
is, the synthesizer. That's something. Thank you, Mike. We're going to have to look at, and I'm going to have to learn more
Yeah,
about that.
apparently he's a
Now, I'm
composer.
not hearing anybody here. Is this an audio issue or
It's not an audio
Oh,
issue.
okay?
oh, my
It's
mic's
a
on.
I'm releasing cool chat issue.
Oh, okay.
No, I
Yeah.
was. My mic's moving. Do you not hear me?
Oh, that
Oh, I wasn't hearing
beehiver
you.
cell. Oh, you're not.
I am now, but I
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wasn't.
okay.
Every time it gets quiet, I get a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I
I,
would too.
did I put Mike asleep or something here?
Mike,
No,
are you there, Mike?
I am here.
Oh, I can't hear Mike. Wait.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Let me- Mike, are you
we
there?
are a real handful
I
here.
am here.
Okay, I got you. I
I am
switched
live. I am not Memorex.
I switched the tab again, so I'm able to hear you again. Wait.
And
Okay.
just because, just so people know, I was trying to call up my synth software earlier. While we were just finishing up the Musk controversy there. And unfortunately, it did not show up as an option to be loaded in the software. I'm using Chrome for the first time tonight because I thought it would be better than Brave.
No,
Brave is Chrome based, but no, it hasn't improved anything. And in fact, the functionality where I was able to play VCV Rack before,
it
it's
went
not happening
away.
in Chrome. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Grr.
anyway, I was just going to show you guys how to make a random number generator. But
Oh, Arthur's laughing at us.
who's laughing at us?
Arthur.
Arthur.
Haha.
Yes.
Ha!
Thanks for joining us again, Arthur. Oh boy.
Diabolical
Well,
laughter.
Yes, yes, like a maniacal, diabolical laughter. Ha ha
hmm. All right.
ha!
Here we go. So anyway, this is some stooge watching her, and now we're gonna see the rest of this. It was good to have an interlude there. Less likely to get copyrighted.
Yes.
He switches over to another frequency. Oh, okay. That bit I did on slides. Sorry. So anyway, we go back to the slides here, and we're gonna see where we just left off there. And
Ooh, 18 likes. Cool.
thank you all. Thank you all
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
As you see, we are at, I think, about 926 subscribers. So if you're just joining us for the first time,
976, Mister.
976.
Yeah.
I said the wrong. You know how like 75 and 25 add up to 100. Somehow I went 26 instead of 7. Never mind.
My brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So anyway, mine doesn't work. Period. So if you're joining us for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. We do this every Sunday night, and I also do a lot of synthy things the rest of the time. For this week, I am going to be overhauling my studio. So I don't know if
Ooh.
I'll be able to release a video this week. It's been a while since I've done the videos, but I really want to again. I'm getting back
978.
into it. It's just that I
Nice.
need to redo this studio this week. It's mostly moving around things and building a shelf system, but yeah, I got to do that because then it'll be much more ergonomic for me to be doing the music making again.
Very cool. Mr. Flav says that on his side you have 978 subscribers.
Yeah.
Fantastico.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, one and all.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us again, Flav. We have a nice family here. Flav, Arthur Collins, Robot, Scott, and let's see. And I don't know if Eraserhead's with us tonight, but
Now open for lunch.
Open for Lunch has been joining us, who is a musical saw performer. So
Yes, we're
we're-
trying to sort out a date. Sort out
Okay.
a date through email.
all righty.
Yeah.
And so anyway, let's move on. What does he see next? Uh-oh. And then we also hear the voice this time. So we hear the voice from this monster, and they don't make it too obvious, but you can kind of tell that it's Lomax. And so I hate to spoil it, but so anyway, he's talking to his stooge here, and the guy's saying that, somebody says that they saw you the night of the murder, and it's not your face, just the body, and just had a characteristic walk, and thinks he can identify you. And then the monster asks for the location of the person, and this guy gives an address. And there we see on screen the unfortunate guy who's going to testify in the morning as to seeing and he believes he would be able to pick out the walk of the person. And if you notice, when you see the actual video and see this actual footage of the episode, yes, Lomax's walk is kind of like the alien's walk. And so, but anyway, that's not going to work out because they track the guy down, and here comes the alien. Here's the guy. Uh oh. And put that away, put that away. And there he sees the face, and he's all scared. And then there's a zap from a gun, a zap gun, a laser gun, or something like that. And the guy gets shot, and he falls over. And we're back to the hearing the next day. So anyway, folks, if you get the ability to see like any of the Outer Limits episodes, please do. In fact, let me check here. I mean, my wife and I don't have any streaming services except for Amazon, and that's mostly for delivery, and stuff like that. But, yeah, let me see. Oh, I need to use a different browser because it doesn't recognize me there. I want to see if it's on Amazon, just so if
I
people
think
want
it
to.
is. I was going to say.
Well, it may be, but it may not be free. I'll just check here, the Outer Limits. Don't worry, I'm already doing it, Mike, so you don't need to, unless you are checking somewhere else. Yeah, it can be purchased. The Outer Limits, the series can be purchased on physical media too. Oh, wait a minute. There is something free here. Oh, that's the Twilight Zone. That's their competition. There we go.
Yay.
Wow, the Twilight Zone classic TV series is free for Prime. But I don't see the Outer Limits other than for purchase, and it's on physical media, so I mean it's definitely worth getting that series on physical media.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And but it is going to set you back a bit. It's like almost $70 the DVD set. But remember, this is a TV series, so it's like a good number of hours. All right, so we'll go back. And we shall go forward with the proceedings. So anyway, we're back at the hearing, and he's calling Grover to the stand again first. And he starts interviewing him. And I guess after witnessing the conversation between Orville and Scott, Grover's a little bit more affected now. And he starts to open up a bit. And he mentions how he's been using the machine and he found it to be addictive. And I guess that's why he's been protective about it this whole time, because he was trying to hide the fact that he really enjoyed being a peeping Tom and like looking in on people's lives and stuff. And well, I mean, for the Department of Defense, I mean, it goes with the territory. So anyway, that's what happened. And we see a little bit of Lomax's face there, and you think about it. I mean, who in this room could be the monstrous alien?
Yeah.
Which one's most likely? Alrighty. But anyway, so this guy breaks down about his addiction, and Orville mentions to the people there that this is good. You should that he came clean, and you should respect him for the fact it's hard to to admit to your addictions. And there we see Lomax behind the machine, and he doesn't implicate Lomax yet or anything, but he basically takes the fall himself there. And so Orville continues.
I wonder why he didn't implicate Lomax. I wonder what Lomax has on him.
Oh,
We'll find out.
well, actually, no, we don't. But
We never find out why he never revealed that it was Lomax in the first place. I don't know. They kind of forgot about that.
well,
Little
he may not have known that he was the alien monster, or maybe he did and is scared of it. We don't know. But in any case, we continue here. Now it's time to call in Scott, and we get some great pictures of Lomax.
What a nose.
Yeah.
It has to be to hold up them glasses.
Yes, he's got to have something substantial to keep them up.
I'm gonna need a pair like that.
Talk about Coke bottles.
They're awesome.
You hear about Coke bottle glasses?
Yes. Yeah. You don't see those as much anymore. Thought the technology developed a little better.
Yeah.
But every now and then, you do see them.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we continue here. Scott comes in, and we see his wife there. They both enter. She sits down, and this is a great scene because he starts talking about his experience where, he started the company, and then Lomax was there. He's working with him. He never felt friendly with him. Now, I said before owner. He's probably not the owner. He's just like the head of it. And so I assume it wasn't his choice to have Lomax there, but basically Lomax was his assistant. He said he just basically tolerated him. He didn't really care for him. And then at one point, though, Lomax turned on the O.B.I.T. and dialed up an image of his wife. And she was in a bathing suit talking to one of the military guys in the community, I guess at a pool. And he started feeling jealous. So Lomax knew what to do to get this guy distracted, shall we say. And by getting him distracted and questioning his wife's fidelity, that's how he got Scott here to be kind of like addicted to using the device. It was basically like Grover said, an addiction where you want to know the truth about people, or you want to see them behind the scenes or whatever. It's something that could make you fall from grace, so to speak. And so, yeah. And so he was then following his wife on the machine after that and basically questioning her when she got home about things and stuff. And he knows now that she wasn't unfaithful. She was basically maybe just gregarious, as he called her, and sociable and everything, but never crossed any lines. And so he feels bad about it. And he feels bad about how he made her life very difficult with all the questioning and stuff. And we keep seeing images of Lomax there. And
he's very concerned.
But the acting was excellent. And, you just got a delivery that you're not used to these days. But anyway, he's like talking about them and basically how I don't know. I forget. I don't remember the whole thing, but the most striking thing was basically him admitting, his jealousy, and then feeling bad about it afterwards. And after he saw this thing that was monstrous, he had to basically commit himself because no one listened to him. And Orville's really kind of pushing it here, although he's not being mean. He's pushing it. And the guy is like basically at the point where he's got to get up and demonstrate. So that's what happens. Great face acting there.
Absolutely.
We were... Oh, go ahead.
Dramatic. They took things back then called a dramatic pause. You don't see that as much anymore. Not without music or something flashing.
Exactly. No. Actually...
It's too slow for a lot of people now.
Let me see.
Well, also the commercial breaks, and the amount of times the commercials take up an hour are much more than they used to be.
Oh God, yeah.
And insane. So So everything's to fit in an hour. You got to crop things down a bit, and so there's hardly any space, and it doesn't give people room. One
You-
moment.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
I
Oh,
hear.
okay. No, I was just checking my audio. No, the chat was made some good points. Actually, Arthur in the chat made a good point. And he said that the Outer Limits reboot of the 90s wasn't as good. And I remember watching the
Yeah.
reboot. My mom was a big fan. She loves, these mystery shows like Beyond Belief and things like that. And I remember watching a lot of these newer Outer Limits with her. And yeah, those stories, I mean, I fell asleep to them. They they didn't make you think.
It wasn't the same. It's like the new
No.
Twilight Zone. Wasn't the same.
No, there's first of all the stories aren't as good, and second the stories don't make you think like these. These, bring certain things to the surface that we should think about, you
Yeah,
know?
and
Well,
this
and this
one,
show, this show had no intro, but when you think of the old Twilight Zone, what do you think of? Rod Serling standing
yeah,
there with a cigarette in his
Yeah.
hand, introducing the show.
yeah,
I mean, seriously,
yeah.
and this didn't have that.
We did Murder at 20,000 feet
Yes, we did.
back in the day, and
Wait,
that was
Mike was on that. Weren't you on that on
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Mike
yeah,
was there, mister.
yeah.
yeah,
I'm saying that for the audience's sake
Oh,
because in case
okay.
we have some new folks, they can
That's
listen
right.
back to some of the older
yeah,
earworms. The
yeah,
episode with William Shatner, and that was fun. And
yeah,
our
really.
friends Adam Gray and Jay Goodwin were in that stream.
So we
Really?
were
Oh,
all
Yeah, that
there.
might have been
Ah.
before I joined the panel. I don't
yeah, I
know. I
think you
was
were in
there.
the audience at
I
that
was in
point.
the audience.
Yeah, but you were there.
The
I was
whole
there.
the whole family was there.
Yeah.
It was a plot I knew if I just hung out in the audience long enough, I would get on it.
Well, anyway,
I wormed my way into earworms.
Oh, Mike, his plan has been revealed.
we're better for it.
Yes, we
So
are.
thank you.
100%, Mike.
I enjoy it.
And what was I going to say? Well, we do have some clips, a clip coming up that I found to be really striking as a speech. Just the final climax you often find in these episodes where
Mm.
there's like the villain or the bad guy basically gets to explain something, and it's usually the most poignant thing, or it like crystallizes everything. Somehow the villain always mentions the truth in a little bit of a lie,
Yeah.
and but there's some truth in there, and it's a truth that you wouldn't know otherwise, except for somehow the villain brings it up. And this is basically that point where Scott decides he's going to go over to O.B.I.T. and he's going to show what's going on, because I think he figured it out. I think that's what he was mentioning here, that there was one person that never showed up on O.B.I.T. And so he's going to go over and show that one person that never showed up. And so let us load the last clip
Here we go.
and we shall play it. Here we go. Oh,
Mr. Lomax, the machines are everywhere. Oh, you'll find them all, you're zealous people. And you'll make a great show of smashing a few of them, but for everyone you destroy, hundreds of others will be built. And they'll demoralize you, break your spirits, create such rifts and tensions in your society that no one will be able to repair them. Oh, you're a savage, despairing planet. And when we come here to live, you, friendless, demoralized flotsam, will fall without even a single shot being fired. Senator, enjoy the few years left you. There is no answer. You're all of the same dark persuasion. You demand, insist on knowing every private thought and hunger of everyone, your families, your neighbors, everyone but yourselves.
Whoa.
Wow. You know, demoralization, that's how totalitarians break down a population.
Yep.
It's a very point there.
Yeah, because he was pointing out, like with Gordon, and then Scott, they both kind of fell victim to this, I guess, this desire to, take away other people's privacy and find out, truths or whatever. But in many ways, it's like digging that deep into someone's personal privacy. Um, it's not only an infringement on their rights, it's also something that's going to poison you.
Yep.
Uh, and
Mhm.
um,
Yep.
and that's what we saw, at least with them
Yep.
both realizing it. And so this alien culture, I guess you could say, these beings are planning on terraforming the Earth, and they'll be able to come to the Earth and meet with little resistance because they want to see, you know, they believe that the Earthlings will basically.
Well,
What would you say?
well, he mentioned that you guys would that we would be fighting with each other all the time, and then by the time they arrive, we'd be so demoralized there we he'll take over without even firing a shot.
Right.
And I mean, that's basically how totalitarian government works.
Yeah.
Just look at Cuba and the
Oh, yeah.
Chivatos there. How citizens are turned against each other through the Chivato system over there. You know,
Yeah. And
Wow.
so
people
that.
spying on each
So
other.
the show was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
To clarify, that's what it means. This their
Oh, absolutely.
citizens are called to spy on each other. Now, there's some that paid for it, but yeah, you're encouraged to spy on your neighbors in Cuba.
Well, well, well.
And
That's
yeah.
another thing about these old
I
shows.
didn't.
They
Thank God,
actually
I
imparted a
didn't.
message.
I wasn't born there. I didn't grow up there, but my parents taught me the family history.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. And it's funny how we run into some people in music and everything where, when Fidel Castro died, uh, now Liza didn't say anything too controversial, just some words like she said now about she, hoped that one day Cuba would have a freer society, and it was amazing how many people just weren't aware or actually had the idea because they had visited Cuba and thought it was great and everything, even though they didn't know that they were being handled. They were being showed like
They were totally
what
being
they were
handled.
allowed to
What the
see.
yeah, or the I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're being handled if you go there as an exchange student or something, but people don't care. Some
Hmm.
people don't care.
Yeah, and just didn't
Mm.
believe that it was as
No,
oppressive as it actually is.
they didn't want to believe it.
Wow.
And that's how, that's how these ideologies keep us apart. We're not willing to accept information from people who experience things firsthand, like in a place like Cuba, because we've been told by the people we consider to be our allies that this is what happens there is such a great place, and this and that, and it's like, no, 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 no. My family lived there and escaped from there, and yeah, and so I can tell you that you're wrong there, and because again, ideologies really keep us apart. The stuff that the government pushes on both sides are keeping people from.
But it's not to say that there are some things that, like a lot of times we do talk about some of the stuff that happens that where wokeism is taken to extremes and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I can agree on that. It's like, I can understand being upset about that. And I agree on most of those things too. It's just that they're doing that for a reason.
Yeah.
And the reason is to really create a divide.
Divide and conquer. It's the oldest trick in the book, and yeah, we as a population continue to fall for it. Yeah,
But
Yep.
at the same time, it's
as
kind
a
of,
people.
when you're presented things that really go against your beliefs and everything, it's hard not to be um, affected by that. And the main thing is, I think, to think about whether it's really um, going against your beliefs, or is it going against some universal moral law. Then that's one thing. But if it's something that's going against your beliefs or how you would live your life, I think it's important to kind of say, we need to be free to live lives our own way, as long as we don't infringe on the other's rights. Or, you know,
Yeah.
I basically ran out of words there. Go ahead, Liza.
I no, I was. Flav brings up a good point. And yeah, Flav, I agree with you. Political ideologies is what keeps us apart. But I also blame the politicians, because they're the ones who peddle that stuff. They're the ones
Hmm.
who sell the ideologies. And coming from a person who was, you know, a few years ago, highly, highly ideological, sucked into a certain, this is right, and all of that is wrong, and anybody who believes that is evil, yada yada. I was there, and I learned. I learned,
Hmm.
and
2020 was a big eye opener.
2020 was a huge eye opener, a huge one. So
Well, folks, I think we're going to let Mike take the floor if he wants to. If he doesn't, we will probably be winding down fairly soon, because it's a TV episode, an hour long, and
Yeah.
I think it's good for us to do maybe a strong hour or hour and a half, rather than one where we're going to get burned out by the end. So this was good. And for the next week, so those of you in the UK, you're going to be fine. We start right after Brown, just like as usual. But in the US, we'll be starting an hour later,
da da da.
to whatever time you're used to. So once again, that would be 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central, 6:30 p.m. Mountain, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Basically, deduct the hours as you need to. And although I think Arizona doesn't Arizona not change the clocks? They're
What?
like the only
I
one that,
don't think Arizona
Oh,
does.
really? I didn't
yeah,
know that.
that one state doesn't change their clocks. So
They're sticking to their guns. Awesome.
that's probably, yeah, makes a lot more sense. It's like, why do this? But anyway, but after that, when the 30th arrives, March the 30th, that's when Brown in the UK are on the same hour ahead as we are. We'll be back to 7:30, and so that will be our regular time from there on out. We're just making that adjustment because we don't want to. A number of our friends, family members, are also members of the Brown Alliance. I am myself, and so we don't want to disturb that Sunday night experience. Mr. Brown has been very helpful to this channel with having us as an automatic redirect after his stream, and so we don't want to overlap. And it just, you know, that's it. So, Mike, you've been very quiet there.
Well, I
Uh,
was just listening to
Mike was
you guys.
participating in the chat, made very good point about
Well, go ahead.
beans. Wait,
Yes,
let me see
I
here.
was quoting Wavy
I can't.
Gravy.
And
Never
What are you
underestimate
guys
the
talking
value of the
about?
clown.
you
Well,
know,
I'm here like doing the play-by-play of this TV show. You guys are in the chat talking about beans. Oh, that's because I call you Beans, probably.
no, no, no. It
Yeah,
Mike.
if people want to know why I call Liza Beans, it's just because when we met, she used to always say "cool beans." It was her expression for things, so I just started
Ah,
calling her Beans.
Yes.
I see.
Well, Mike, just so you know, I once made a bean volcano with a pressure cooker,
Oh my god!
trying to cook Cuban food, and I did not succeed. I did not inherit my mama's skills.
I see.
Yes, so this to me was funny.
Although there's multiple definitions for a bean volcano.
Well, there you
Ah,
go.
yeah.
Although
Well,
I should move along here just because there are two more slides, I think, or three.
two more
And
slides. Oh my God.
yes, well, they're concluding here, and we see a look on her face. We see a look on his face where you get the idea where they just feel like, oh man, we fell into it. But if well, he at least did. And if he wouldn't have, would have had more faith in his wife, then this wouldn't have happened. And there we see the overhead shot. They're leaving the room, and basically the end of the episode tells us that they started going around and trying to dismantle and get rid of all those machines around the country. And they were in more than just military locations. They were in schools. They were in all sorts of places. And then we just see this last scene where the announcer says, before saying, "We're returning your television back over to you."
Oh no.
He mentions that he says he almost implies that this invasion is coming. It is up to us to resist our darker natures, and then perhaps we would be able to stand tall. And I actually seen this was a running theme because I saw an episode 2 before this that I was considering for this week too. It was called "The Architects of Fear," and it was basically
Whoa.
this almost like a secret society of guys that got together, like architects, the masons and so forth. And they had a meeting and decided one of them was going to have to undergo this conversion into an alien and do this kind of fake, because they had like a spaceship and stuff all ready to go, where there'd be like a fake alien invasion to get the world to unify and stop fighting each other. And it starred
Hmm.
Robert Culp, the guy that also played the FBI agent in The Greatest American Hero, and it was pretty cool. But I decided no, I don't know. For some reason, I mean, that might be something we'll do in the future. That was pretty cool, but that was a sentiment at this time, I think, from seeing that, at least from Stefano, in emphasizing the whole idea of unity. As opposed to being divided, and how that would solve a lot of problems. Now, unity, there's two types of unity. There's the unity where a totalitarian regime basically unifies you um, through sheer force of rule. And then there's another unity where you're not really unified. You're not all the same. You have differences. You just unite on just some core things to keep a society going, keep people from,
People collaborate.
yeah, people collaborate and um, don't engage in actions that harm others, and just allow each other to live their own lives. And that would go a long way to stopping some arguments, because so many arguments are started where someone says, you know what, I'd like to use the force of government to get you to live like the way I want you to live. And it's like, oh, no, 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 you
Exactly.
know.
Hmm.
So I guess Mike would like to stay out of this one. So,
Well, I'm just throwing out wavy gravy quotes, man.
okay. Then I
There's
need a
always,
Well,
note.
you
I
know,
like yeah, I like your latest promo, Mike. That was great.
what?
At the end of your videos.
Oh, yeah.
Or sometimes
Well,
at the beginning, hey man,
Hey man,
man.
it's like you
you heard the
gotta
new
do it.
thing?
It's dropping tomorrow, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, folks, you
Yeah.
need to subscribe to Mike's channel if you haven't
Yes.
already. great music, and just a great spirit behind the making of the music. I saw some comments that were really nice on your videos
Yes.
this week.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think maybe it's branching out. I don't know. You
Yeah,
guys have
one of
got
them
me
was in
going.
Spanish, and
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. So I'm like,
Oh,
well, maybe I'm starting to reach some people, and hopefully, I talked to my friend up in Ohio last night. He really enjoyed the. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's like 22 minutes long, but uh,
oh,
I
I
put
have
out
to check that
a
one.
very meditative
That's
type.
great. I was hoping.
Yeah, it's 22, almost
Clicked the wrong
23
thing there.
minutes.
I was hoping for some longer ones.
Yeah, you got it. I worked on it this week. It's called Seasons.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So anyway,
good here before the end. I guess.
all right. We're
Ours-
transmitters and we're piezoelectric as well.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for joining us. Great to see all the regulars here, and yeah, we definitely next week. Alex Petty Music. This guy
Yes.
is really good. You're going to want to check it out.
oh yeah,
And
it's gonna be
and
enjoyable.
then we look forward to having open for lunch, or now open for lunch on soon.
Yeah.
So
Drop me an email, Albert.
we'll
Yes.
keep the mix going, and it looks like folks really like some of the older classics. So maybe we'll do a Twilight Zone coming
Yeah.
up soon, and another Outer Limits after that, and we'll keep
I like
we'll
a
keep
classic because I am a classic. I
we'll
was
keep.
rock before it was classic.
Cool beans.
Just
All
remember,
right.
folks, from Woodstock, 1969, before he was even wavy gravy, there's always a little bit of heaven in a disaster area. There's your food for thought for the night.
All
And
right,
that's
and
a
on that
great
note,
thing.
on
Yeah.
that note, we'll be signing off.
Yes.
Water. Just so many ways to enjoy it. Almost everyone swims through it, rides on it, or plays around it. It's fun. But accidents do happen. Many could be avoided. Still, others kept harmless. If people were safety-minded. Safety means having the right equipment and skills. Your Red Cross chapter can help with information and instruction. So give them a call and be safe.
This weekend on The Late Show, an attack of gnawing terror. 11:30 Saturday, Willard rules a powerful rat army.
You made me hate myself. Well, I like myself now. Tear 'em up!
Saturday, 11:30 Sunday, the rats are hungry again.
I want every train in this city examined.
1,150 miles of pipe?
Every inch of it.
Where Willard ended, Ben begins. Willard and Ben, two gnawing terrors on Channel 4 beginning at 11:30 on The Late Show.
And one of the most important things I learned is you don't become a star overnight. It really takes a lot of hard work to get there. Now what I want to do, Ronnie, is give you a few tips on defense. Now you're going to run a sweep around me and I'm going to try to stop you. You watch how I stop you.
He's no Larry Zonka, but he's a terrific big brother.
How did he do that?
Share yourself with a kid. Share yourself with a kid.
On Thursday, November 13th, CBS proudly presents a major motion picture event. Sylvester Stallone as the fighter whose whole life was a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. Talia Shire as the woman who loved him and believed in him. Winner of 3 Academy Awards. Rocky. Thursday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Tomorrow on CBS.
This concludes another day of programming on Channel 4. Before signing off, we'd like to invite you to start every day with WTVJ and enjoy a world of entertainment coming your way over Florida's pioneer television station, WTVJ, Channel 4, Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.